All right, here we go now. Let's do Texas. They're first, won a championship. I mean, they're going to get the DeGrom sometime, they think, next year, which would be a big help. Scherzer, they don't have sometime next year until middle of the season, so that is a negative. I don't know what the story is about Montgomery. The financial scenario with the television contract is always something that it's hard to equate what that might mean as far as the team is concerned. They are the defending champs. They obviously, have the young outfielder who played very well for them last year. They got another top outfielder in their farm system. They could use some help as far as their bullpen is concerned. They could use the help with pitching, period. I mean, of all the excellent Montgomery, if they can re-sign him very good, DeGrom, you would think second half of next year, it's a big plus two. But their bullpen is and of course their starting rotation, now that Scherzer is out of the mix, is somewhat problematic as well. They're going to hit. They got a big offense. You don't worry about Seager. You don't worry about Simeon. You know that. So it's really pitching, and more pitching for Texas. They're going to have a little bullseye on their back. Texas cannot get fooled by their postseason run. They did not win the division, and they won all those road games in postseason play. They won what? They won 2-5. They didn't lose a road. They didn't lose a home game. They didn't lose a road game. They won 2 in Tampa, 3 in Baltimore. They won 4 in Houston. They won 3 in Arizona. That is unprecedented, and you can't count on that again. So they cannot fall. This is not the 98 Yankees, as the basic point. So we shall see how they handle it here as far as, in the next couple of weeks. They have not done a lot. Montgomery re-signing him would be a plus. I'm not sure what they're going to do with him. A lot of folks think they could get Josh Hader. We'll see there, too. As long as they got Bochy in that dugout, they'll be in decent shape, and they got a very good middle of the infield. Texas, tough division, but they're pretty good. Houston is next. They won it, of course, in 2022, and they beat the Phillies. And the Astros have been quiet as well. Bregman and Altuve, their contracts, we got to keep an eye on what they're going to do there. I don't think they're going to trade Bregman. I think Altuve is a Houston Astro for life. I wouldn't worry about that. They got Verlander for the whole year. We shall see. They got pitching. Their bullpen, very spotty. But they haven't made a lot of moves. They brought a backup catcher, Caratini, in from Milwaukee to back up Diaz. They lose Maldonado, but they haven't made an awful lot of moves yet, this ball club. As far as the offseason is concerned, maybe a luxury tax scenario. Jim Crane doesn't want to go over that number. We'll talk to Chandler Rome about that in a little bit. I mean, the Astros are getting a little older. You'd be a little worried about that, but Alvarez is there. Tucker is there. Altuve and Brantley will be there. I would think the shortstop might have a better bounce back here, but they can use another big outfielder. Brantley's going to leave. He's been hurt a lot anyway. They can use another good outfielder, and they can use a little help in the bullpen and lose a couple of guys free agency, including Hector Neris. So we shall see. I have a bad cold, so don't apologize if I got to just make sure feel better in the nose area. Anyway, as far as Houston is concerned, that's where we have with them. Atlanta, listen, Atlanta's been pretty quiet. And this is, one of the best organizations, if not the, in the sport. Anthopoulos does a tremendous job. Maybe Dylan Cease. They made the moves to get Kelnick that can help them out in left field. They traded a couple of pitchers who have been banged up a lot, including Soroka, who leaves. They need another starting pitcher. We saw that in the postseason. They only had the 2 guys to work with, and that wasn't enough to beat the Phillies. They could use more offense. They don't need offense. They just need better pitching, as what it comes down to. And they could use another big starter. They got obviously a huge lineup. Most of those guys are also signed. Atlanta, I think Atlanta psychologically has got to work on some things. They've lost their last 2 series to Philadelphia. They're 0-4 in the divisional round, and they were intimidated in both spots. And that would be concerning for me. Maybe baseball changes their philosophy with reseeding, so the Braves don't have to beat the Phillies by 20 games in the regular season and then somehow have to beat them again in the first round of the playoffs. Maybe they change that. It's a possibility. The commissioner did tell me that on radio at the World Series. But, Atlanta, how they get over the hurdle of the Phillies, and the Phillies are going to be around, will be very, very interesting. They're going to have to get through the Phillies eventually to win another championship, you would think, in postseason play. That's more of a psychological thing than anything else, but they do need another pitcher. Their pitchers last year, obviously, they had some issues with Fried anyway, but Strider wasn't great in his starts. They had Elder was a disaster in Game 3. So the pitching, maybe that's where Cease comes in. That's team number 3. Team number 4 is L.A. They won in the pandemic. They're going to be in the mix every year. Now, listen, Ohtani is really, to me, a story about 2025. He's not a big deal in 2024 as far as the actual team is concerned. I know everybody is waxing poetic about the 1, 2, 3 in the batting order with Betts and Freeman with Ohtani, and that's the greatest thing in the history of baseball, which it isn't, because the 76, 75 Reds had a better lineup. But, I mean, the bottom line is everybody is waxing poetic, but they need pitching more than they need offense. I understand Freeman and Betts were bad in the postseason with Arizona, but their pitching was a disaster, and I don't think Glasnow's the answer. They gave him $135 million. I don't think he's the answer. He never answers the bell in a big game. So from that standpoint, that would worry me a little bit. That they don't have enough pitching. Who knows on Buehler? You figure he'd be ready to go in April. You don't know. I mean, I know the Dodgers can basically pace themselves. They're going to win 100 games in their sleep. So they can pace themselves and put themselves in a situation where they can utilize their staff in October. But still, pitching was the undoing of the Dodgers really the last 2 postseasons. And I'm not sure how much better they've gotten in that department in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Now, maybe they can get Yamamoto. We'll have to wait and see what that happens here in the next 10 days, I would think. But the Dodgers could still use pitching. Ohtani helps them in 25. From that standpoint, obviously not so this year. They'll be in the playoffs. We know that. That's a big-time team. They'll be in the playoffs. But are they a championship-worthy team? And that's what they have to do is win championships. Enough losing in the playoffs. Are they a championship team? I'm not sure if that's the case right now for them. And then finally, the last team here are the Nationals. They won in 19, which basically culminated after a long run of success that did not include postseason success. They finally won the whole thing. We're on the road in Houston there in Game 7. How about Washington now? They had to regroup. They had to rebuild. Strasburg, they got nothing out of. They let Rendon leave, which turned out to be the right move. What does Washington do now? They got pieces. Gray's going to be good. The catcher's good. Abrams, the shortstop, is good. Mackenzie Gore is going to be good. They got a great GM. I like the manager. They had a 16-game improvement last year. So I think Washington is on their way to being better. And I have a lot of faith in the front office. So it's not going to take too much longer for the Nationals to be a big-time team again in the National League East. I don't think it's going to happen right this second. May not happen in 24, but down the road, and I don't mean that far down the road, I mean maybe as much as 25, they're going to be reckoned with in the NL East. That's where we are. We have Alana in the house, and she says hello on this busy program. Ms. Rizzo, the floor is yours. Take it away.
You're the only man in America that can tell the world that he has a cold and blow your nose on national television and get away with it. I hope you feel better. This is your last show of the 2023 season. All right, talking about the 5 teams, the last 5 World Series winners, Chris, I think all of the teams, with the exception of the Washington Nationals, are back in the postseason in 2024. I think the Nats are on their way, but I don't think they're quite there yet, and they are in a very difficult division there in the NL East. Okay, so I want to talk about, of course, the Texas Rangers. Now, they are bringing back pretty much the entire core of that team. I really wish people would see the value in Jordan Montgomery. I know everybody is waiting to see where Yoshinobu Yamamoto signs, but somebody needs to sign Jordan Montgomery, and why not it be the team that he pitched so well for in the postseason last year? So you figure, though, they are returning the key members of that championship team. Texas makes the postseason again. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up winning the division. The reason I say that is because the Astros have not done a ton in the offseason so far. They, too, have their core of guys coming back. You already went through the list there. They're returning most of the 2023 team. They are, however, losing Michael Brantley and Martin Maldonado to free agency. Obviously, Martin Maldonado, we know, is not going to be there anymore. Altuve, I'm with you, along with Bregman, stays. I never worry about the Houston Astros. They will be in the postseason again. It just is going to be a jockeying for position, in my opinion, in the AL West, between the world champion Texas Rangers and the Houston Astros. The Braves, another team, of course, much like the Phillies, that I never worry about. The Braves, however, they're returning the entire core, really, of the team. They're losing Eddie Rosario to free agency. His spot in left field is going to be, filled by a platoon of guys. They lost Kirby Yates and Brad Hand as far as the bullpen is concerned, but Alex Anthopoulos, I love what he does, signing these young players to long-term deals. They are a winning organization. They are a team that understands how to win, and they have the key pieces. I love the lineup, and they'll figure it out with the pitching. Even though they've lost some of their pitching, they still have a very good starting rotation, in my opinion. The Dodgers, we've talked about this ad nauseum, of course. they need pitching. I like Tyler Glasnow. I know you say that he's not big in a big game, hasn't come through in a big game. Again, all things being equal, with all 5 of these teams, if everybody stays healthy, 4 of the 5 make the postseason. Tyler Glasnow is a good get for the Dodgers and a massive necessity for this team. I still don't know if Clayton Kershaw, is going to come back as a Dodger. I think he will. But, of course, the 2 teams, Dodgers, Rangers, we'll see. But, again, he's not even a factor until the middle of the season. Walker Buehler, is he going to be on an innings limit? How long are they going to let him go? Is he going to be healthy enough to pitch as an ace every 5th day for the Dodgers? Then you have Tyler Glasnow in the mix. Dodgers still very much in the running for Yamamoto, so we'll see what happens there. That's obviously going to have a massive trickle-down effect if they were able to get him. But they have a lot of young arms in that starting rotation, we talked about it yesterday, that are at the big league level just based out of necessity. I think Bobby Miller is going to be incredibly good. He reminds me a lot of Walker Buehler, but is he ready yet to take that next step? And as far as the Nationals are concerned, again, market improvement at the end of this season. Last year, I like Mike Rizzo. I like, the team that they have put in place. I think they're a little ways off, especially being in such a tough division.